one of the top 50 players in NBA history. He was a 2-time champ in the NBA with the Celtics, 7-time All-Star, Dave Cowens. How you doing, Dave?
I want to know who your booking agent is.
It's me. Me and Elliott.
Okay, you're doing a good job. You're getting all those great players together.
You know what, though? You guys all are interesting, can tell the stories. If you get today's stars, I don't think they could give what you guys give in radio interviews.
Well, we're a little bit older.
A little more of life observation, a little different perspective.
We have a little different perspective, that's right.
Okay. I want to know first and foremost how a guy who grows up in Kentucky ends up at Florida State. Did somebody in your family piss off Adolph Rupp?
No, they didn't really recruit me very hard. I don't think they were interested in me. They had signed Danny Issel from Illinois in the same class. So, I was way down on the list, and I wasn't a very good high school basketball player, and so I only had 8-10 offers. So Florida State saw something in me. Hugh Durham did a good job recruiting in his home state of Kentucky, and I ended up going there. Partly reason is because they had about 7 girls for every guy on campus, so that helped.
Tough decision, huh?
Yeah. I needed all the help I could get, believe me.
Frank Ramsey told us the South will rise again. He's still banking in Kentucky.
He's right. It's coming.
But Sad Sanders had an interesting story. He said that when Tommy Heinsohn told him that, listen, we got this left-handed center coming in who's something else, he decided to test your heart when he jumped on your back, and he said you gave him a concussion.
Who said that?
Sad said that the first time he went against you in practice.
Their minds are going as they get older. I don't think that's true.
Well, it sounded good.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's a good story.
What was it like being another left-handed center with the Boston Celtics? The first one was pretty good, a guy by the name of Russell.
Yeah, obviously our 2 games weren't a whole lot alike. He was a really great shot blocker and position defender and trying to bring big guys outside. Once I learned how to shoot a little bit and get them at a disadvantage, we both knew how to rebound. We both knew how to block out and had all the fundamentals down there. But there's a guy, Russell was a revolutionary type of a player. He changed the way people thought about playing defense and blocking shots and all that sort of a thing. And I think what I brought to it was I took a guy who was 6'9" and played center, which was, not, I don't think was a big deal, but I was able to bring a little bit of quickness, being able to run the floor and play this position a little bit differently than most guys had up to that point in time.
The reason you end up with the Celtics was because of Russell. He's the one who said they should draft you in that draft.
Well, no, actually it was Mal Graham. He's the one that scouted me. He had contracted a disease of some sort and couldn't play, so Red had him scout, and he was the first guy to come look at me down south someplace. And then Red went to see a game where Bill Russell came into play. It was when I was attending a basketball camp. Red's it was a sort of a rookie camp, and I was playing out on the outdoor courts. We were having just a scrimmage after, talking to the kids all day and teaching them. And Red was saying, I don't know if we can play this guy at a center, blah, blah, blah. And Russell said, just play him wherever he wants to play because he's going to be okay.
So, of all your accomplishments, NBA All-Star Game MVP, Rookie of the Year, we could go on forever. Which one stands out the most to you?
Well, I think winning the first championship is always the most special thing. Up to that point, as a high school player and a college player, and up the first 3 years as a pro, I was never able to put my finger up in the air and say we're number one. So that was kind of a special moment, and being able to do it against Jabbar and Oscar Robertson and win it in Milwaukee in the 7th game, that made it even more special and dramatic.
What was it like going against Bill Walton? Did he talk on the court like he does on the broadcast booth, or was he more mellow?
No, back then he didn't say much at all. He was, but now he's making up for it.
Big time. Well, plus he took the marbles that used to be in his mouth when he would talk, and he took those out so you can almost understand him most of the time.
That's not very nice.
Oh, okay.
Elliott's a journalist.
That's you can pick on him.
I mean, you had some great players in those Celtic teams. Was the key to your success Red Auerbach's coaching, or was it your teamwork?
Well, Red had set up a system that Heine played in, and Havlicek and Nelson and those guys that had played some serious years for the Celtics prior to me getting there. And Tom Heinsohn was our coach. And, and Tommy kept all the plays that they ran through the Red Auerbach era and added a few more to take advantage of what I could do as a center, and sort of had me playing outside a little bit, and we changed our defense a little bit on, how we're going to run pick and rolls, how we're going to defend pick and rolls, because I could, do a decent job of staying in front of people if I had to switch out on the guards. So we did a few different things, but, mostly it was just buying into the system of don't take a lot of time to shoot the basketball, get down and play some defense, press a lot, make the game into a 90-foot game, and, try to get early scores before the defense can get set. So that's kind of what our plan was, and it worked pretty well for a while.
Now, how special a place was the old Boston Garden for you? And what was it like to see it torn down?
Obviously, winning is what makes it all worthwhile, and what builds the mystique and the tradition. Without the winning, that sort of doesn't happen. So I enjoyed it. It was a great arena. I thought the fans, like one of the, like all the other places that were in franchises that were in the league from the beginning, New York and Philly and those types of places. It's a generational fan base, and they really take their sport seriously in the Boston area.
When you played with the Celtics, I mean, you joined the team. Sam Jones had just retired. Bill Russell had just retired. Havlicek was at the end.
No, Havlicek wasn't at the end. No, he had just been. He was like in his probably seventh year, so he was just prime time.
Yeah.
But were you kind of nervous, saying, "Okay, am I going to be part of a rebuilding project?" Or you had faith that the Celtics were going to rebuild on the fly?
I didn't think too much. I just sort of played. I didn't worry about all that stuff, because what matters is what happens with the decisions that you make, when the clock's rolling. And so I didn't try to figure a lot of things out or pre-plan. I just sort of took things as they came and tried to learn as quick as possible. And you're playing against really good players, so they don't know what you can do. You don't know what they can do, and it's a whole big learning experience. So I really wasn't that thinking with a lot of forethought about any problems or about what anybody thought about anything. I was just there to play, and I got a chance to play right away, so I was grateful for that, because the learning experience started early.
I mean, you had some great centers. I mean, the Celtics through the years. You had Russell, then you went to Parrish. I mean, it's incredible. You guys never go without a center. In Chicago, we've had Artis Gilmore and basically nothing else. Maybe Tom Borowinkle.
Bill Cartwright.
But Cartwright was at the end of his career when he came here. He wasn't the player he was when he came in with the Knicks.
No, but he was the missing.
Well, you got a couple pretty good post guys right now, and Noah and Boozer. Those guys, they know how to play. They get up and down. They can score. They can play defense. They're good, sound, fundamental players.
Okay. So in this NBA season, you like the Celtics to go all the way?
I really don't know. Last year they fooled everybody. They had to win on the road. They beat Cleveland. They beat Orlando. And then they got to the finals. And if Ray Allen just makes a couple shots in the third period, they beat the Lakers and they win a championship again. So they got awfully close. I don't know that lightning strikes twice like that. I mean, they're obviously struggling a little bit just because of the length of the season right now, their age. They played an awful lot more games than some of the other people, and you got some real hungry up-and-coming teams. A team in Miami that wants to prove something. Your team in Chicago there that's kind of got all the pieces, and they believe in each other, and they got youth on their side, and that whole newness of winning and that drive to win, for the first time. And so I think it's going to be a very interesting playoff. It's hard to pick. For me, it's hard to pick a winner. I'd say maybe the dark horse to come out of the East would be Orlando.
Orlando scares me. I mean, because you've got Gilbert Arenas, who was one of the top players in the NBA till he got hurt a couple years ago, and he's still young. You've got Dwight Howard. You've got Turkoglu. I mean, you've got some players there.
Well, I think Arenas really hasn't really done a lot. I don't know what his stats are. I haven't looked him up, but every time I see him play, I don't really see him playing like the Arenas that I knew. We drafted him when I was at Golden State, and he was so quick and energetic and could shoot and do all kind of different things, but I haven't seen him do that. If he ever lights it up and really has some big games, they're going to be really tough to deal with, because they had that great inside game. They had the perimeter shooters you talked about, but they also have Nelson, and if Arenas catches on, that's going to give them a continuation of that same onslaught where they like to play up and down and drive the basket, that sort of a thing. So I think they'll be, if he catches far, he's going to be, they're going to be a team to reckon with.
Now in Chicago, a lot of people are saying Derrick Rose is the NBA MVP and all that, and he's going to take them to a title. They won 62 games during the regular season, but the postseason is a different animal, is it not?
I don't know that it's that different. I mean, I played in a lot of really good basketball games in the regular season and a lot of stinkos in the postseason. The only thing that changes really is that you're playing a team back to back to back to back, and you get so familiar, and you got to be able to use your resources to make things happen when the other team kind of knows what you're already going to do. So all your options are going to get used. The playbook gets shrunk. And usually the rotations get shrunk. And what I've found is that the bench becomes a huge factor in the playoffs. Who's ever bench plays the best usually advances.
Thank you very much, Dave. It was a pleasure talking to you with your insight into the NBA.
All right, then. Nice to talk to you.
Thank you.